Toma stood on the edge of the rocky ridge, his sharp eyes scanning the wide red valley below. The sky was a dusty orange, dust storms moving slowly across the land. He tightened his grip on his rifle, feeling the heat of his armor against his skin. This was the border of human space, dangerous and quiet. Too quiet. Suddenly, smoke appeared far away, curling up from the valley floor. It was thin at first, but quickly grew thicker, darker. A small ship had crashed. Toma's heart beat faster. This was no ordinary accident. The crash had happened in the Red Valley, a place marked off limits for years because strange things had been reported here. No one had been sent to investigate in a long time. Without waiting for orders, Toma started running down the rocky path. His boots kicked up dust, and his breath came hard. He had to see if anyone survived. When he reached the crash site, the heat was intense. The ship was half buried in red dirt, its metal body bent and broken. Fires burned in small spots, but they were dying out. There was no sound, only the crackle of the fire and the soft wind. Then, a noise came from the wreckage. A scream. It was high and full of pain. Toma froze. It was not like the sounds of any human he had heard before. It was raw and frightened. He moved carefully toward the sound. Between two broken pieces of the ship lay a figure. A woman. But not a human woman. She was tall and thin, with skin that shimmered faintly like the surface of a pearl. Her eyes were large and dark, full of fear. She wore a suit made of strange, soft material, and her long fingers twitched as she tried to move. Her leg was caught beneath a sharp piece of the ship's metal. Blood had soaked her clothing, and she screamed again, louder this time. Toma's heart tightened. He wanted to help, but he knew she could see him as a threat. Many times, human soldiers had faced alien enemies. Some were friendly, but many were not. He raised his free hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. "Hey," he said softly, trying to sound calm. "I'm here to help." The alien woman looked at him with wide eyes. Her breathing was fast, shallow. She shook her head, as if warning him to stay away. But the pain in her leg was worse than her fear. She cried out again, and Toma knew he had to do something. He knelt beside her carefully, trying to see the injury. The metal was pressing into her leg, cutting the skin deeply. She winced and pulled back, but Toma spoke gently. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." He reached out slowly and touched her leg, near the wound. Suddenly, a strange feeling spread through her body. The pain started to ease. Toma smiled faintly. His armor was equipped with a special healing system, tiny machines called nanomedic bots. They could help wounds heal faster by working through touch. The alien woman's eyes opened wide in shock. No one had ever touched her like this before. Her fear softened, replaced by something like hope. Toma didn't wait. Carefully, he used his knife to cut away the sharp metal pressing into her leg. She hissed but didn't pull away. When the metal was free, Toma pressed a clean cloth to the wound and activated the healing bots. A soft glow came from his armor where his hand touched her skin. The pain faded. The woman looked at him, her large eyes shining. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Instead, she pointed to herself and then to him, as if asking who he was. "Toma," he said, holding up a small name tag from his armor. "I'm a soldier. Human soldier." She repeated the sound softly, "Toma," her voice was strange but gentle. Toma smiled. "What's your name?" She paused, then said slowly, "Eva." It was a simple name, but it sounded beautiful. Toma helped Eva sit up. She was weak but alive. Around them, the red dust blew softly. The sun was low now, and shadows grew long across the valley. They both looked at the broken ship. It was clear she couldn't stay here long. Toma knew he had to find help and fast. "Can you walk?" he asked. Eva tried, but pain shot through her leg again. She shook her head. Toma thought quickly. His communicator beeped. He called for backup, but the signal was weak here. It would take hours for help to arrive. He looked at Eva and nodded. We will wait. Together. For the first time, Eva didn't pull away. She leaned on him slightly, trusting this strange human soldier who had touched her leg and eased her pain. As the red sun set behind the mountains, Toma sat beside the alien woman, watching the stars begin to shine. In a quiet place between two worlds, a new story was starting, one that neither of them could yet understand. The night settled quietly over the Red Valley, but Toma did not feel safe. The silence was too complete, like the valley itself was holding its breath. The alien woman Eva lay resting on a blanket Toma had made from his jacket. Her leg was still weak, but the pain was less. The tiny machines in Toma's armor worked slowly but surely. Toma sat nearby, watching the sky turn dark. The stars looked different here, brighter, sharper. He wondered what her home planet looked like. Did she have skies full of stars like this, or maybe moons? Was her world warm or cold? These thoughts kept him company as he waited for help. Suddenly, Eva stirred. She sat up slowly and looked at him with wide eyes. Toma smiled gently. How do you feel? She hesitated, then pointed to her leg. It was clear she still felt pain, but it was less than before. Toma nodded. It will get better. Eva looked at him with curiosity, then reached out to touch his hand again. This time, it was different. She didn't pull away. Instead, she let her fingers rest lightly on his palm. Toma felt a strange connection in that moment, as if their worlds were touching in a new way. Then she tried to speak again, but her words came out as strange sounds, soft and flowing, unlike any language Toma had heard. He shook his head, trying to say he didn't understand. Eva frowned and pulled out a small device from her pocket. It looked like a thin, glowing tablet. She tapped on it quickly, and the device hummed softly. Words appeared on the screen, written in a language Toma could not read. But after a few moments, the words changed, translating themselves into simple human speech. Who are you? The device asked, in clear letters. Toma smiled, feeling relief. Finally, some communication. My name is Toma. I'm a soldier. Eva's eyes brightened. She touched the screen and typed back, I am Eva. I am hurt. Please help me. Toma nodded. I will help. The device was slow and awkward, but it was better than nothing. They spent hours typing messages, learning a little about each other. Eva told him that she was from a distant planet called Lira, a place far beyond human space. She was not a fighter but a scientist, studying stars and life. Her ship had been attacked by something she called the Swarm, a group of machines that destroyed everything in their path. She had escaped but crashed here. Toma listened carefully. He understood fear. He knew about threats, but this swarm was new to him. Why were you here? He asked. To hide, Eva said, her voice soft. To find help. Toma's radio beeped again. His backup was still hours away. He looked at Eva. We need shelter. Together, they moved to a nearby cave. It was small but dry, protected from the cold night air. Toma lit a small lamp, and shadows danced on the walls. Inside the cave, Eva looked around, then took out small containers from her bag, strange plants and powders. She tried to explain that they were medicines from her planet. Toma watched as she carefully mixed them and applied some to her leg. The pain eased even more. Toma realized something important: Eva's body was very different from his. Her healing was slower, but her medicines worked in ways his armor's machines could not. It was a new kind of science. As they shared their simple meal, Toma told her about humans, about their wars and hopes, their fear of the unknown but also their desire for peace. Eva listened with shining eyes. Your people are brave, she said softly. Toma laughed. Sometimes brave, sometimes foolish. Eva smiled. Suddenly, the cave's entrance flickered with light. Toma's eyes snapped to the opening. A patrol drone appeared, scanning the valley below. It was a small flying machine, with sharp sensors. Toma froze. If the drone saw Eva, they might think she was an enemy. They might attack. He grabbed his rifle and moved to the entrance, watching carefully. The drone circled once, then moved on. Toma let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Eva watched him, her eyes full of questions. "They will come," she said softly. "They do not understand." Toma nodded. "We have to be ready." For the first time, they worked together. Eva showed him how to set simple traps using vines and stones. Toma taught her how to move quietly and watch the skies for danger. The night grew deep, but neither of them slept. Instead, they sat side by side, sharing stories without words, learning trust with every look. Before the dawn, Eva touched Toma's hand again, silently thanking him. And Toma, looking at her, knew one thing clearly. This was more than a rescue mission. It was the beginning of something bigger, a friendship between two worlds that might change the future. The sun rose slowly over the red valley, painting the sky with soft pink and orange colors. Inside the cave, Toma and Eva woke to a quiet world. The cool morning air felt fresh, and for a moment, it seemed as if nothing could go wrong. But both knew better. Eva's leg was stronger today. The strange medicine she had applied worked well. She tried to stand, but her leg shook. Toma reached out quickly, steadying her. She looked at him and smiled softly. "Good," he said simply. They needed to move soon. The crash site was unsafe, and backup was still far away. Toma gathered some supplies, food, water, his communicator, and helped Eva out of the cave. The valley stretched wide and open before them, filled with red rocks and dry shrubs. The air smelled of dust and earth. The wind whispered softly. Eva looked around, eyes curious but cautious. Toma pointed to the sky. "We wait for help." Eva shook her head. "No time." Toma frowned. "Why?" She pointed to the horizon, then made a strange motion with her hands, as if something large was moving fast. Toma understood she meant danger. "We must move," she said, voice low. Toma nodded. They would have to leave the safety of the cave. As they walked slowly through the valley, Eva held tightly to Toma's arm. The rough ground made her stumble, but Toma never let go. Without words, they learned to trust each other more. The hardest thing was understanding one another. Eva spoke in her soft, flowing language. Toma only understood a few sounds. When he tried to speak human words, she listened but did not answer. They needed a way to communicate. Toma took a small stick from the ground and began to draw in the dirt. He made simple pictures: stars, mountains, a ship. Eva watched closely. Then she pointed to the drawings, nodding. She picked up a small stone and drew beside him. She made pictures of strange creatures, plants, and shapes that looked like her ship. Slowly, their drawings told a story. Toma smiled. "You are scientist?" Eva nodded, her eyes shining. "Study stars," she said, pointing to a circle with dots inside. Toma nodded too. "Human soldier?" She looked surprised but smiled. Their friendship grew with each day. Toma shared stories of human cities, bright lights, tall buildings, many people. Eva told stories of her home planet, Lira, a place of green forests, blue oceans, and tall mountains. They laughed at their mistakes. Eva tried to say human but said human. Toma tried to say Lira, but said Lira. The mistakes made them smile. One afternoon, as they rested by a small stream, Eva showed Toma how she could use energy from her body. She lifted a small rock with a soft glow around it. Toma was amazed. "Like magic?" Eva laughed softly. science. They began to share more than words. Toma showed Eva how to use his weapons, carefully. He taught her to stay quiet, to watch the wind and listen for danger. Eva taught Toma how to recognize strange plants and animals in the valley. She warned him about the night creatures that came with the dark. Together, they planned to reach the nearest human base, many miles away. It was a long journey, and the valley was full of dangers. One evening, while they camped under the stars, a low growl came from nearby. Toma grabbed his rifle. Eva stood silently, eyes sharp. From the shadows, a large animal stepped forward, fur thick and eyes glowing in the dark. Toma aimed but didn't shoot. Eva held up a hand and whispered in her soft language. The animal stopped, then lowered its head and walked away. Toma looked at her with respect. "You understand animals," he said. She smiled. "Nira taught me." The moment made Toma think deeply. These differences between them were not weaknesses. They were strengths. By the third day, Eva's leg was strong enough for short walks. Toma helped her slowly move through the rocky paths. They came across an old human satellite dish, broken but still standing. Toma's eyes lit up. "Maybe we can send message." Eva nodded, hopeful. Together, they climbed to the top and tried to activate the system. It was old and dusty, but after many tries, the dish hummed softly. Toma spoke into his communicator, hoping someone would hear. "Help," he said simply. "Human soldier and alien woman. Need rescue." The message sent, but the reply was slow. They waited. As night fell, Eva looked up at the stars again. She touched Toma's arm gently. "Thank you," she said in her broken human words. Toma smiled. "We help each other." In the quiet valley, two very different beings sat side by side, watching the sky. Neither knew what tomorrow would bring. But both knew they would face it together. The sun was setting behind the jagged hills of the Red Valley. The sky turned dark orange and purple. The air grew cooler, and a soft mist began to rise from the ground. The valley was quiet, but Toma felt a cold tension in the air. Something was watching. He looked around carefully. Eva sat nearby, her eyes alert but tired. Her leg was stronger now, but she still needed rest. Together, they had come a long way since the crash, but danger was never far. Toma tightened his grip on his rifle. "We must be careful," he said. Eva nodded. She whispered a word in her soft language. Toma didn't understand, but he felt the warning. Suddenly, a strange sound broke the silence, a low, metallic hum coming from the fog. Toma stood quickly. "Get ready," he said. Out of the mist, shapes began to move, small, fast, and shining with cold metal. Machines. Not like anything Toma had seen before, but clearly dangerous. They were synthetics, old war machines left from a long human conflict. They were programmed to attack anything alive. Toma raised his rifle and fired. The shots echoed through the valley. Some of the machines fell, but more came out of the fog. Eva stood beside him, her body glowing faintly. She lifted her hand, and from her palm came a soft blue light. The light formed a pulse that hit the machines, causing some to fall back. Toma watched, amazed. "You're fighting with me?" Eva nodded. "Protect." Together, they fought side by side. Toma shot while Eva used her strange energy pulses to stop the machines. The battle was quick but fierce. When the last machine fell, the valley was silent again. Toma looked at Eva with respect. "You are strong," he said. She smiled softly. "You are brave." The fight had brought them closer. They knew they needed each other more than ever. But the danger was not over. That night, as they rested in a small cave, Toma heard a soft noise outside, a whisper of metal against rock. He woke Eva quietly. "Something is coming." They hid in the shadows. Soon, a group of machines appeared at the cave entrance, scanning with red glowing eyes. Eva stepped forward. "I will try," she said. She raised her hands, sending out a bright pulse of energy. The machines paused, confused. Toma joined her, firing carefully to keep them back. Slowly, the machines retreated into the fog. When the danger passed, Toma and Eva sat in the dark, breathing heavily. "We cannot stay here," Toma said. Eva nodded. "Must find safety." The next morning, they moved carefully through the valley, avoiding places where the machines might hide. As they walked, Eva told Toma more about the swarm, the group of machines that had destroyed her people's home. "They consume everything," she said, her voice soft but serious. Toma listened. He understood now that their fight was part of something much bigger. They came across an old human outpost, empty and broken. Toma searched for supplies while Eva watched the skies. Suddenly, Toma found a small device, a beacon. It was weak but still working. "We can send message," he said, hope returning. Together, they repaired the beacon. Eva used her knowledge of energy to help power it. When the beacon hummed to life, Toma sent a message to Human Command, telling them about Eva, the crash, and the machines. But the reply was not what they hoped for. The command ordered containment. They saw Eva as a threat. Toma felt a cold anger. "They don't understand," he said. Eva looked at him. "We must prove we are not enemies." Their mission had changed. They were no longer just survivors. They had to become friends, two worlds standing together against a dark future. The days grew warmer as Toma and Eva moved carefully through the rocky hills beyond the Red Valley. The sun was bright, but the shadow of danger still followed them. The machines had slowed for now, but Toma knew it was only a matter of time before they returned. Eva's leg was nearly healed, and she walked with more confidence, though she still leaned on Toma at times. Their bond had grown strong. They had learned to trust each other, even without words. But the hardest challenge was yet to come. Toma's communicator beeped suddenly. He stopped, heart pounding. It was a message from Human Command. "Toma," the voice said, firm and cold. "We have orders. Do not approach the alien. She is unknown. Containment is priority." Toma's jaw tightened. "Containment? She is hurt. She needs help." The reply was harsh. "This is not a negotiation. Follow orders." Toma looked at Eva. He could see the fear in her eyes. She didn't want to be treated like a prisoner. He made a decision. "We cannot wait for help that might not come." Eva nodded. "We must find place safe." They moved quickly, deeper into the hills. The terrain was rough, but it offered hiding places. They found a small cave surrounded by thick bushes and rocks. Here, they rested and planned. Eva showed Toma a map. She had drawn a map of the stars in her homeworld, Lira. She pointed to a distant system, far beyond human space. "I want to go home," she said softly. Toma nodded. "I will help." But getting there was impossible without a ship. Suddenly, a noise broke the quiet, a whistle of a ship nearby. They hid behind rocks. A human patrol ship landed in the valley, its engines loud and bright. Toma's heart sank. The soldiers were searching for them. He whispered to Eva, "Hide." They slipped into a narrow crevice between rocks, holding their breath as the soldiers passed close by. The patrol was thorough. Lights scanned the valley. Radios crackled orders. The soldiers spoke in sharp tones, calling for the alien woman. Toma's hands clenched. He wanted to reveal himself, to protect Eva. But he knew that would mean capture. After what felt like hours, the patrol left. Eva looked at Toma, eyes wide with worry. "We cannot stay," she said. Toma agreed. They needed to move fast. That night, under a sky full of stars, Toma and Eva talked quietly. Toma spoke about trust, the kind that could change fate. Eva listened, understanding that even in a world of war and fear, there was hope. But trust was fragile. The next day, they were caught. A group of soldiers found their tracks and surrounded them in a narrow canyon. Toma raised his hands. "We do not want to fight." The soldiers lowered their weapons but kept their eyes sharp. Eva stepped forward slowly. One soldier spoke, "You are the alien they warned us about." Eva nodded. "I am scientist. I want peace." Toma added, "She saved my life. We are friends." The soldiers exchanged looks. Their leader stepped forward. "We have orders to take her in," he said. "But if you cooperate, no one will be hurt." Toma looked at Eva. She nodded slowly. Together, they surrendered. But inside, Toma promised himself one thing: he would not let fear win. He would protect Eva and show the world that friendship between human and alien was possible. Even if it meant standing alone. The cold metal walls of the human base echoed with quiet sounds: footsteps, soft voices, the hum of machines. Inside a small holding room, Eva sat on a hard bench, her hands folded in her lap. Toma stood nearby, his eyes never leaving the door. She looked around the sterile room, feeling strange and uneasy. This was not the valley, not the open skies or soft earth. It was cold and sharp, full of machines and strangers. Toma tried to comfort her. "They will ask questions," he said softly. "We must tell the truth." Eva nodded. She was scared but knew this was necessary. The door opened, and a tall officer entered. His face was serious, but not unkind. "Alien scientist," he said, looking at Eva. "You crashed on human territory. Why should we trust you?" Eva stood tall despite her fear. "I want peace. My people destroyed by machines called the Swarm. I need help." The officer studied her. "We have heard of these machines. Dangerous. Why should we help you?" Toma stepped forward. "Because she is not the enemy. The real enemy is the machines that want to destroy us all." The officer's eyes narrowed. "And what proof do you have?" Eva reached into her bag and pulled out a small device. It was a data crystal, glowing softly. "This shows the swarm's path," she said. "They will come to your worlds next." The officer took the crystal and examined it carefully. His face did not change. "We will review this," he said. "For now, you will remain here." The door closed, and silence returned. Toma sat beside Eva. "We must be patient." Days passed slowly. Eva felt trapped, but Toma's presence gave her strength. They talked about their worlds, about hopes and fears. One night, a sudden alarm blared through the base. Lights flashed red. Toma and Eva were rushed outside. Outside, the sky was filled with strange lights, small ships falling from the stars. The swarm had found them. The base went on high alert. Soldiers ran to their positions. Toma grabbed his rifle. Eva looked up, fear in her eyes. "They are here," she whispered. The first machines landed, dark and shining, their weapons ready. Toma and the soldiers fought bravely, but the machines were strong. Eva moved beside Toma, using her energy to push the machines back. Together, they fought like never before. But the battle was only beginning. The swarm wanted to destroy everything. Toma realized that if humans and aliens did not unite, both would fall. He looked at Eva and said, "We must convince them. We must fight together." Eva nodded. "Together, we are strong." As the night grew darker, their fight became a symbol of hope, a human soldier and an alien scientist standing side by side against a common enemy. The battle raged on beneath the dark, star-filled sky. Toma and Eva stood side by side on the front lines of the human base, their faces lit by the glow of explosions and the flashes of energy. The swarm machines advanced with terrible power, but the defenders fought with fierce determination. Toma shouted orders to the soldiers, his voice steady even as his heart pounded. Eva moved among them, her hands glowing softly as she sent waves of energy that slowed the machines, sometimes stopping them entirely. The strange blue light from her palm was a beacon of hope in the chaos. But it wasn't enough. The swarm's numbers were too great, their machines too strong. Toma's mind raced. They needed more than weapons and courage. They needed unity. He turned to Eva. We must show them we can fight together. Not just soldiers and scientists. Humans and aliens. Eva nodded. I will speak to the commanders. Together, they pushed back to the command center, where officers gathered around glowing maps and urgent reports. Eva stepped forward. Her voice was calm but filled with urgency. The swarm is not just a threat to one world, she said. It will destroy us all unless we stand together. We must share our knowledge, our strength. The commanders looked at each other, unsure. Then Toma spoke. She saved my life. We fought side by side. If we work alone, we lose. If we work together, we have a chance. A silence fell over the room. Slowly, nods began. One officer said, we will open communication with her people. We will prepare a joint defense. Hope stirred in the hearts of those present. Outside, the battle continued, but now a new plan was in motion. Days passed. Humans and aliens shared their knowledge and skills. Eva taught them about the swarm's weaknesses. Toma led soldiers in new strategies that combined their strengths. The bond between the two grew stronger. Where once there was fear, now there was trust. One evening, as the sun set, Eva and Toma stood on a hill overlooking the valley. The battle was not yet won, but the tide was turning. Eva looked at the stars and whispered, "Thank you, Toma. For your trust." He smiled. "Thank you, Eva. For your courage." Together, they watched the sky, ready for whatever came next. The future was uncertain, but they knew one thing: as long as they stood together, there was hope. And hope was stronger than any darkness.